Today's story, it's the last story in the Mottels, in this collection of Mottels, Mottel Kazlindes, Fabrengenischen and Werten. It's a story with the Alter Rebbe, how appropriately, as we stand now, Chai Kislev, we end the Tanya today, and Erev, Yitzchak Kislev, Chag HaChagim, which the Alter Rebbe said that he was pale, L'mayla, that Yitzchak Kislev is like Yom Kippur. I think he even said Ne'ilah, that Pasha, he can be pale, in Yonim, Tfilas, Niskabel. Tzemach Tzedek said, Simchas Torah, was the Rebbe Rashab at the Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe had a different Yom Tovim, going deeper and deeper. It's all Yinatzmi, but deeper. Rosh Hashanah. Okay, here's the story with the Alter Rebbe. This is 7 generations ago. The context, much more so today. So once Chassidim came to the Alter Rebbe and they complained, how is it possible that we should have a shval ruacha b'fnei kol adam, to be truly humble before everybody? And they said, this fellow, they identified who they're talking about. We saw him eating without a yarmulke, without netilas yadayim, washing his hands, and without making a bracha before he ate his sandwich, his bread. How can we be shval ruach before him? Feel humbled, lower, less than him? He says that. So now the Rebbe said, this fellow that you're saying he ate without a head covering, without kisir rosh, maybe his hair was a toupee. So he had his head covered. And even if be'emes, it wasn't a toupee, and his head wasn't covered, wearing a head covering is midrabanan. You say he didn't wash his hands before he ate? Maybe he may washed his hands earlier, and he was watching his hands. He washed them earlier, and he watched them. Didn't have hesach hadas. He kept paying attention to his hands, and they're still clean. So who says? And even if he didn't taka wash, it's midrabanan. You say he didn't make a bracha before he ate. Maybe he made a bracha again. Didn't have hesach hadas, didn't kept concentrated on the food he's about to eat, and therefore and even if he didn't, it's the drabanan. But you guys, you just spoke lashon hara, and you were over Issa Daraisa. You transgressed the Torah law, and therefore it's possible to be truly humble before each person, like the Alter Rebbe demands from us in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe goes into the Arichas, what you should think of in order to properly realize that his situation and so on, whereas your matzav, are you exerting the effort that's required for you to resist your temptations to the degree that he would need for his? The answer is no. So he concludes here, Motel, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, this is in Perek Lamed, that a person should be, that's Chazal, humble before each person. Alter Rebbe adds, be'emes lamite, truly, sincerely. Chassidim say, not because it's, but those words he means, the Alter Rebbe, not because so it's written in Tanya, but because that's the truth. You are less than him. If you make a proper, honest evaluation of your situation, your background, your matzav and his. Not because Kikein Kosev Pirkei Avos, or in Tanya and Pirkei Avos, but because that's the emes. Pirkei Avos says be humble for each person. Alter Rebbe adds the words "v'havi bemis lamita," and that has to be absolutely true. Alter Rebbe is saying not because it's written, but because it is objectively true. In other words, if it's written, okay, he accepts it. It's got to be so. So he's a humble guy. Torah says, be humbly for each person. Alter Rebbe adds, yeah, it's written, but what's written is the emes, that you are less than him. I'll just add to that. Who says? So is it not possible he's less than you? What's the I? It can't be a person that I'm working harder against my Yetzer Hara than him. Can't be such a person. Kol Adam. And Alter Rebbe says, and that's the emes. Huh? The answer is, if you're judging him, if you have that attitude of judgment, that's the dead giveaway that you're less than him. That's the giveaway, that you are not nearly struggling in what you need to do to the degree that you failed more than he's failed in his struggles, which is why you're judging him. Because by judging him and going fair, you're justifying yourself. It's all seeking self-justification. That's why we're critical. So that's the biggest raya, that you are failing in that very area or that very inyan, that you're critical of the other guy. So for the person who's, now if we sit back objectively and just look, someone who's not critical of anybody else, it could be Taki. He's holding a much higher madrig. Taki, and he is. Clearly, people are holding higher than other people. Who's the one that's be'emes on the high madrig because he's working harder? It's the one that doesn't see the fault in the other. It's the only reason we see the fault, because it justifies us. Unless there's another possibility. If you see the fault and that it elicits not criticism and disdain, but compassion and how can I help? That's a different story. Then you saw it because you have to be mashbir and you have to help the person. That's the other possibility. But for most of us, that's not our avoid. We're not mashbir. It's not your job to fix the other person. Unless you see it that way. If that's the response, oh, you give out, how can I help? Then help. Then that's why you saw it. It's famous sichim, right? The Eibishter observes the laws that he commands us. He tells us not to speak Lashon Hara. If he makes me see someone else's fault, it's God speaking Lashon Hara. I didn't mean to be. I didn't see it. You're exposed. God speaking Lashon Hara. How can he do that? How can he make me see someone else's fault? We're not going to all sicha now. It's all because I need to do work. Either fix it in me or help him. So if my attitude is fair, that's a clear indication I have the same problem at worse and failed, and this is justifying me. And therefore, says the Alter Rebbe, if you're judging, you are less than, really and truly less than. Clear? Okay.